Mobility and deployment. Mobility encompasses how quickly and effectively forces move on the battlefield and deploy to the battlefield. This is a critical difference. Helldivers specialize in rapid deployment, whereas clone troopers rely on more traditional but still fast deployment via transports. Also guys, for this, the Helldivers cannot call down for more help. No one else has reinforcements. It's just 1,000 versus 1,000. It wouldn't make sense. It basically, if the Helldivers can call down more troops or can redeploy, then the clone troopers could, call for more reinforcements. It wouldn't really make sense. So the whole thing is 1,000 versus 1,000. I will eventually in the future do an entire battle between clone troopers versus the Helldivers, which means the entire Galactic Republic versus the entire C.E.A. Alright, but for this battle specifically, it's only 1,000 versus 1,000, no extra troops. Helldivers mobility and deployment. As their name suggests, Helldivers dive into hell literally. Their method of deployment is via Hellpod drop pods from orbit. A Helldiver strike can be launched from a fleet ship or space station and inserted directly into the combat zone in moments. These one-man drop pods scream down through the atmosphere and slam into the ground at the target location. The arrival is dramatic and dangerous to anything nearby due to impact. In terms of strategic mobility, this means Helldivers can appear anywhere, anytime, with no warning, other than maybe a fiery streak in the sky seconds before impact. They don't need landing zones or airfields. Every patch of ground is a potential entry point. This gives them huge strategic flexibility. Need to reinforce a city? Helldivers can be dropping into a city center within minutes. Need to assault a fortified position? Helldivers can drop inside the perimeter if coordinates allow. Furthermore, Helldivers have personal movement perks. Some use jump packs or jet boots, and all have high endurance for running. There's even a perk known as the cardio accelerator to run faster, meaning some Helldivers could sprint at exceptional speed across the battlefield. They also can perform diving rolls or use a displacement field to teleport dodge a few meters, a tactical mobility edge that clones lack. For longer moves on the ground, Helldivers rely on vehicles called in via stratagem. They can summon a 4-person APC or a 2-leg mech. While these are useful, Helldivers do not have massive teleports like the Republic's LAAT. If they need to redeploy a large distance mid-battle, they might extract. Helldiver extraction is typically a shuttle drop ship, like the Helldivers Eagle shuttle that comes to pick them up at evac points. These shuttles are fast, but a bit vulnerable coming in. Clone troopers, mobility and deployment. Clone troopers normally deploy from low-altitude assault transports, LAAT gunships, or heavier landers for vehicles. In our scenario, to get 1,000 clones into battle, they'll likely arrive via several gunships that swoop in and offload squads rapidly, or via a large transport like a new class shuttle. Clones can deploy pretty fast. We've seen LAATs blitz into hot zone and clones repel or jump out, getting into cover swiftly. However, they do not need a relatively safe LZ, or at least a not completely obstructed area to land. Later on, clone paratroopers did exist, but not common. On the ground, clones have good mobility through vehicles. The ATRT walkers allow clone scouts to move quickly and still fight from a perch. The BARC speeders can rapidly reposition troopers. In urban combat, they can hitch rides on ATTEs or etc. Clones move on foot at a high pace of a highly fit human, which Helldivers share. Clones do have some troopers with jump packs. Some clones can leap onto rooftops or over obstacles similarly. They often use grappling hooks for vertical movement when needed. In terms of large-scale redeployment, clones usually rely on their transports. If 1,000 clones need to reposition across the battlefield, a clone commander would radio for a LAAT pickup or have them mount up on vehicles. That takes minutes and some coordination. Helldivers, by contrast, could potentially evac and redrop elsewhere more rapidly, though doing so under fire is risky. A key advantage: Helldivers can deploy behind enemy lines to start with. Clones normally deploy at front line or drop zone, then move to contact. Helldivers might begin a battle by literally landing in the clone's rear or flanks, immediately negating any defensive lines the clones set up at the front. However, clones have numbers such that they can respond to multiple incursions. If Helldivers drop in scattered fashion, clones will radio and regroup to contain each pocket. Mobility during battle. If it comes to relocation or maneuver, clones might attempt to flank marches, which Helldivers could see and counter with fast dropships. For example, if clones start moving a company through a forest to flank, Helldivers might quickly call a stratagem drop of mines to slow them. One limitation for Helldivers: they require their orbiting ship to be in position to deploy pods or support. If that link is ever severed, jamming, or the ship destroyed, their mobility and support plummets. Clones once on the ground are self-sufficient in movement. Comparison: Helldivers have an obvious edge in strategic deployment. They control when and where the fight starts more often than not. Clone troopers have to react or set ambushes and hope Helldivers don't just bypass them. On a tactical micro level, both are comparable in foot speed and personal agility. Clones are at peak human condition, Helldivers as well. Clones possibly have more heavy transports available if the battle involves moving entire units around. Like if it turned into an extended campaign, clone logistics with ATTEs and LAATs outshines Helldivers' minimal transport usage. But within the scope of our battle, Helldivers basically dictate the engagement range and location with their drop capabilities. Also, Helldivers can retreat quickly, calling a dropship for evacuation, whereas clones might have to fall back on foot to some extraction point if things go south, unless a gunship swoops in under fire. The edge goes to the Helldivers when it comes to mobility and deployment. The ability to drop from orbit at will gives Helldivers unprecedented operational mobility. They can appear where clones least expect and reposition through evac/drop tactics much faster than clones moving over land. While clones are very mobile within battle, especially with their vehicles, the Helldiver's strategic and vertical mobility is a defensive advantage in this category.